So if any troops appear there, especially during the ongoing hostilities, we assume they'll be legitimate targets for defeat.
France are preparing hospitals for the injured and dying of a presumed war, and Putin has said any troops in Ukraine are considered enemy combatants. So does this mean real war in Europe? Vladimir Putin has said enough is enough. If NATO troops are in Ukraine, he's going to treat them as enemy combatants. So does that mean that we're marching steadfastly into war? Well, yeah, I suppose it does. And France are preparing hospitals to presumably treat UN peacekeeping soldiers. All I wanted to do was keep the peace, and here I am in some hospital in Calais. That's no kind of life, is it? Let's have a look at how the legacy media are reporting on this story, and let's reflect together as to whether or not we want to be participants in the march to, another European war.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is out with a new warning to countries willing to send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine.
We've come here to keep the peace. Well, if you really want to keep the peace, get out of here and stop being involved in this internal conflict. Stop pretending that NATO's got anything to do with what goes on between Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine's not a member of NATO. And stop pretending that any of these bureaucracies are about anything other than the marshalling of important minerals and powerful global interests. And if those interests align with people in France or Britain or whatever, that's merely a coincidence. All of these bureaucracies are set up to support an elite managerial class that, as far as I can tell, might have occultist interests, because surely I can't understand them from a perspective of pure reason.
He told the Russian Economic Forum that he opposes any deployment of Western troops in Ukraine, calling them legitimate targets.
Regarding possible military contingents in Ukraine, this is one of the root causes trying to involve Ukraine in NATO. So if any troops appear there, especially during the ongoing hostilities, we assume they'll be legitimate targets for defeat.
His comments come a day after French President Emmanuel Macron announced that 26 countries had pledged to send troops to Ukraine as a post-war peacekeeping force after the fighting stops. As Kyiv seeks to secure security guarantees in the event of a peace deal with Russia, its European allies are also looking to bolster their own security, with Germany's cabinet last week approving a draft bill that could reinstate a form of conscription.
Oh, good. Conscription. Just what you want. To fight for a nation that hates you. France don't like French people. Britain don't like British people. Presumably Germany don't like German people. Mass migration is but one observable symptom of an attempt to create states of bewilderment, despair and disarray. Job done. Across the world, in particular across Europe, this state has been achieved. But what is the real goal, the real aim? Is it population control? Is it the fact that you no longer require a labouring European serf class, that you can outsource labour across the continent? That's been available for a while, and that AI and robotics mean that you don't need a traditional working class anymore, so you might as well demonise them and destroy them. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Here's some write-in from Michael Snyder on Substack. Why are Europeans organising a coalition of the willing to send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine when the Russians have repeatedly stated they will never accept any Western peacekeeping troops in Ukraine? If I sort of sent myself round to your house and said, I'm just here, keep the peace. If I stood at the edge of your fence saying, I'm just here to keep the peace, you might eventually use a firearm to compel me to leave, mightn't you? And you're presumably not Vladimir Putin. And if you are, apologies for the metaphor, sir. Macron and other Western leaders know that Russia will never agree to any deal that would allow Western troops to enter Ukraine. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister spokesperson Maria Zakharova reaffirmed this yet again. Russia's not going to discuss a foreign intervention in Ukraine in any form or format that's fundamentally unacceptable and undermines any security, Zakharova told reporters, according to Reuters. So why are the Europeans preparing to do something that Russia will never agree to? Well, for one thing, Western leaders do not believe that Russians should have any say in the matter. That's pretty imperialistic and aggressive attitude, isn't it? It's on their border. Russia are a superpower. Putin's meeting with Xi over in China right now. They're forming new pacts and coalitions, new poles of power that could undermine not only European power with all of its fading glory, deep debt and dissatisfied domestic populations, but even fading American hegemony. So are we in a position to be provoking Vladimir Putin? Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. I think no. NATO chief Mark Rutte said on Thursday that Russia had no veto on Western troops being deployed to Ukraine. Why are we interested in what Russia thinks about troops in Ukraine? It's a sovereign country. It's not for them to decide. Well, how about because, Ukraine aren't in NATO and Russia have nuclear weapons? I mean, that's just two off the top of my head. Don't ignore people that've got nuclear weapons. We've been saying this since Biden was in power.
The idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, and don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say, That's called World War III.
Since all of this posturing and grandstanding began. Remember then we did a video years ago now, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, about how BlackRock were already doing deals with Zelensky to digitalize some post-war Ukraine.
Such giants of the international financial and investment world as BlackRock, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs, such American brands as Starlink or Westinghouse have already become part of our Ukrainian way.
If you don't recognise this as part of a general trend towards globalism, imperialism and a new form of colonialism that ain't based on the overt militarism of the last century, but new forms of social democracy spreading technocracy, all in the name of freedom and kindness and compassion, and take your injection, then, you've not been watching the patterns. There's no doubt that Europeans plan to send troops to Ukraine once the war is over, whether Russia likes it or not, but could it be possible that Europeans actually plan to send troops to Ukraine before the war's over? Ukraine have already lost 1.7 million soldiers. My God, what a terrible, awful, pointless waste of life. And they need reinforcements desperately. If they don't get them reinforcements, they will steadily lose more land. And it's a very troubling sign that hospitals in Europe have been instructed to get ready to treat large numbers of wounded European soldiers by March 2026. Great news, everyone! We need you to get ready to... Yes, is it a holiday? Is it a pay rise? Is it some time off? Treat loads of injured soldiers in an unwinnable war. Vive la France!
Hospitals across France have reportedly been told to prepare for a potential armed conflict.
Don't get turned on by it. Hospitals in France have been told to prepare for war, dear.
By next year, with the government urging health providers to be ready.
The world could be so beautiful. Look at it. Paris, the glory of the Seine, the Eiffel Tower, magnificent city, so beautiful that even the Nazi charged with its defence and control refused to detonate the explosions that were set to go off in the event that the Nazis lost Paris. He'd fallen in love with it. There's a statue to that Nazi. There should be more Nazis. No, that's just a joke. I'm simply saying, why have we yielded to such darkness when such incredible light is accessible? Balance of Nature delivers the phytonutrients that naturally occur in 47 whole fruits, vegetables, spices and fibres. Their fruits and veggie supplements include 31 colourful ingredients like mango, pineapple, wild blueberries, spinach, kale and broccoli. Their fibre and spice blend features 4 whole fibres. Psyllium husk. I've had that psyllium husk. That's good stuff. Flaxseed, whole apple and monk fruit. You dirty pigs. Plus 12 aromatic spices such as cinnamon, turmeric and cardamom. More than 90% of Americans don't get enough dietary fibre. Come on, be honest. You're one of them.
Well, I'm the only one here.
Balance of Nature makes it easy. No bags. Who needs a bag? No mess. Who needs a mess? Just clean, quality ingredients with a long shelf life. Take them with water, chew them, mix them into food or drinks, or push them ever so gently. Don't you dare. That was a test. Sign up now as a new preferred customer with a code Russel to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fibre and spice supplement. Hurry, for God's sake. Like your life depended on it, because it does. Because as I said at the beginning of this rather long and difficult commercial, you are revolting and unhealthy.
Who the do you think you're talking to?
I love you, but, buy the thing. It helps us.
The government says hospitals should be prepared for a major military engagement as soon as March 2026.
Save the date. Major military engagement 2026. Here's our list of required gifts. Going to need a lot of bandages for burns. Going to need a lot of defence treatments for uranium. A lot of people are going to need crutches. A lot of people are going to lose limbs and die. Something borrowed, something blue. That blue thing is just a big part of corpses.
It said that between 10,000 and 50,000 men could be expected in French hospitals over a 6-month period, which could include foreign soldiers who are coordinated with NATO and the EU. They are planning medical transit centres to make use of regional facilities and to distribute patients arriving from potential front lines. According to the reports, doctors are also being warned to prepare for shortages. The French health minister hasn't denied the letter and stressed it was a precautionary measure, but that aggression from some actors means the country needs to prepare for the worst. It comes months after the government announced a survival manual which is set to be sent to every household in the country.
Everyone's flags are so similar, aren't they? They're all red, white and blue stripes in some sort of configuration. You might get a star here or a cross there. But even the flags are telling us that these conflicts are ultimately pointless.
The 20-page booklet is said to include details of what to do in a variety of emergencies, including nuclear blasts and natural disasters, and contains a survival kit packing list, which includes water, tinned food, paracetamol and a torch.
These were those toilet rolls that we were panicking about at the start of COVID, and it turns out that we were wrong to panic about that, or COVID more generally. The things we should have been worrying about were excessive government control, censorship, and the efficacy of the medications recommended by the government. Why would hospitals in France be told to prepare for such a scenario if there's going to be a peace agreement? Of course, the truth is there isn't going to be a peace agreement. Ukraine will never willingly give up the territory that Russia is demanding, and Russia will never agree to allow European peacekeeping troops in Ukraine. All along, one of Russia's primary goals has been to keep NATO completely out of Ukraine. Of course, one of Volodymyr Zelensky's primary goals has been to drag NATO directly into the war. This is something that former Polish President Andrzej Duda spoke about earlier this week. Speaking in an interview with journalist Bogdan Remowalski, Duda recalled an incident in November 2022 when a Ukrainian air defense missile struck near a Polish border village, killing one person. Zelensky immediately blamed Russia and urged Warsaw to invoke NATO's collective defense clause. Duda said the Ukrainian leader pressured him to publicly declare the weapon Russian in origin, which he refused to do. I remember that news story. I feel like the Associated Press and Reuters even for a minute reported that it was a Russian missile, and we all know about the Nord Stream pipeline and that Russia blew that up like a madman chewing off his own finger in a bar fight to prove how hard he is. They use such sort of peculiar narratives to retain their control over your consciousness and attention so that you can be managed. Most of us are just sort of little blobs now in a petri dish, slowly evaporating under the might of their pitiless sun. Well, this is a time for you to awaken and metastasize into something useful and glorious, serving a true king, not their imperialist goals for you. There is also extreme concern about Ukraine's new Flamingo cruise missile. That sounds like a lovely missile. What's that? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's all pink. Oh, it's because it eats shrimp. Oh my God, my life's been ruined. Ukraine has revealed a powerful new weapon that could shift the balance of its conflict with Russia, the Flamingo cruise missile. Go! Developed by defense startup Firepoint, the missile is said to be capable of carrying a 2,000... I'm not homophobic, by the way. Don't business with stuff like that. I just like the way that when that actor at Hangover says that, that's all. But I don't believe in judging or damning people. I'm just not into that sort of thing. Ha! Gay! Capable of carrying a 2,535-pound warhead and striking targets up to 3,000 kilometers away, signaling a major leap in Kiev's domestic arms production. President Volodymyr Zelensky expects mass production by December 2025 as Ukraine accelerates towards becoming a so-called Silicon Valley of defense.
BlackRock.
If Flamingo cruise missiles start slamming into major Russian cities, the Russians may respond with overwhelming force. If the Russians respond with overwhelming force, European leaders may use that as justification to send troops to Ukraine. And once European troops start dying in Ukraine, we will be just one step away from nuclear war. President Trump, just breeze past that now. Threats of nuclear war is just something we live with, isn't it? President Trump has tried to bring an end to the conflict in Ukraine, but the Ukrainians are not going to back down from their most essential positions, and the Russians are not going to back down from theirs. So the war continues, and Russian forces are steadily moving forward. As Russian forces take more ground, the Ukrainians will become increasingly desperate to find a way to drag NATO directly into the war. If the Ukrainians are ultimately successful in dragging NATO into the war, the entire future of our civilization will be at risk. So bear in mind when you see the Macrons and the Starmers et al. On your TV set telling you how they want to protect you and keep you safe and how important it is that you sign up to this WHO treaty or support this NATO bill or this UN initiative or endeavour, just remember that these people don't know what they're talking about, and in the rare instances where they do, it seems that they could be psychopathic. My prayer is that they're not, that they're temporarily vassals and vessels of some dark force that may, by the Lord's grace, be confronted. Until then, though, you and I must remain alert and aware and, where possible, utterly disobedient to these corrupt, insidious, incendiary, dark, institutional and imperialist forces. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat? Remember, join us on Rumble and Rumble Premium and support our work there if you can. More important than that, though, stay free. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Rumble.